Hey, tough guy. Sugar here. Welcome to Sugar Bookie. No fees, no nonsense, just good old-fashioned football advice poured straight from the tap. Thanks for stopping by to check out my over-season win total plays as well as my NFL futures bets. Got two teams here that I really like and want to take a deeper dive into. The Washington football team as well as the New England Patriots. Very bullish on the Washington football team this season. We're going to take their over at 8, but we're also going to take an adjusted win line over 9.5 wins on the season at plus 170. We think they make the playoffs plus 146, and they do that obviously if they win the NFC East at plus 220. I also like Ron Rivera as the head coach of the year, great value at 14-1. Look, the NFC East, still a lousy division. Not the worst in football anymore. That belongs to the AFC South. But you're looking at the best defensive line in the NFL and a sneaky solid offensive line for Washington. Fitzpatrick, any way you slice it, is an upgrade over Dwayne Haskins. That experiment, that disaster, maybe we should call it, is over and done with. Fitzpatrick, a veteran journeyman, is the clear-cut starter. Washington may struggle a little earlier in the year as their early season schedule is tough, but their December and January schedule is manageable. I see them going 6-0 or maybe 5-1 down the stretch here. So you may need to sweat this a little bit, particularly that 9.5 over, but they'll get there. Rivera has finally had an offseason and a full training camp. He didn't have that when he first came over from Carolina. And Washington was the only team in the playoffs that really gave Tampa Bay a game. Tampa had to win 4 playoff games to win their Super Bowl. They blew out the Packers, the Saints, and the Chiefs. Washington gave them a game. They covered the 8.5-point spread, granted at home, but in January. I think Washington continues that success into this coming season. They win the East fairly easily and are a formidable team. Look for them maybe even to get a playoff win in January. I don't think that's out of the question with a defense as talented as what Washington is putting out there this season. The New England Patriots, over 9 wins minus 150 to make the playoffs as a wild card team plus 250, and the fewest points allowed, 11-1. New England gets its roster back this year. They had a league-high 8 opt-outs last season. That really hurt them as far as being able to keep a sizable, formidable team on the field. This past offseason, they loaded up in free agency, particularly on defense. Look for Matt Judon straight over from the Ravens to have a monster year for New England. The Cam Newton experiment is over. What a smart macro move by New England's front office to just get rid of him. It's no knock on what Cam Newton has done in his career so far, but he's interested in being a celebrity, not a starting quarterback in the NFL at this point in his career. It was very smart to say, Mac Jones is the guy, we're moving on. Defensive-minded Bill Belichick leads a stout defense. They'll win a lot of close, grinding games that are focused on the running attack. I see a lot of 23-21 victories for New England this year, so they may not be the best team to lay points with in individual games on the season. But as far as season win totals go, the AFC East is still a questionable division. The Jets are rebuilding, although I think they're making steps in the right direction. The Dolphins clearly don't believe in their starting quarterback despite having a fairly good roster overall, and the Bills are due for regression. I still think the Bills win the division without a doubt. That's a really talented QB and a really good offense and defense, just a loaded roster. But I think New England can give them a game. I think they can split that series, whereas I see them going 3-1 against the Jets and Dolphins, just continuing to pad that win column. Finally, the big reason here is that this is a play on New England's defense to have the fewest points allowed at 11-1 with the number of quality playmakers that New England brought in this offseason. Couple that with Bill Belichick, I think this is a pretty obvious one and great value at 11-1 to allow the fewest points on the season. In addition, let's talk about my overall season futures. Wildcard team, yes, on New England as we just discussed, but I also like Atlanta. The value there at plus 325 is really good. The best off-season head coaching signing was Arthur Smith in Atlanta. I think they take a step forward, and the LA Chargers plus 230 to get a wild card. I don't think there's any way they catch the Chiefs, but this is a franchise that has found their star quarterback, and I think they bounce back to a really nice 10-win season and tiptoe into the playoffs. Again, we just discussed fewest points allowed. New England 11-1 to score the most points. Let's go with Kansas City. They are the favorite at 5-1, but for good reason. Kansas City's defense is not very good. Mediocre at best, shaky at worst. In other words, to get to those 12, 13, 14 wins that they're looking for, they're going to need to score points in bunches. Good thing they have Patrick Mahomes behind center and Andy Reid calling the plays. I think this team puts up lots of points each and every week. 5-1. There's a reason they're the favorite, because it's going to cash. To score the fewest points, let's go with Jacksonville, 14-1. There are some other tasty teams out there. I was looking at Cincinnati, at Houston, but I think there's great value on Jacksonville at 14-1. A lot of legendary college coaches have come into the NFL and bombed. Think Steve Spurrier, Nick Saban, Chip Kelly. There's a chance Meyer may not be able to keep up with the NFL. And if that happens, their offense is going to be horrendous. They already have a bottom 5, if not bottom 3 offensive line, a rookie quarterback. They do have good perimeter weapons on offense. I'll give them that. But at 14-1, there's really nice value here. Last team to win a game, let's look to Philadelphia, 15-1. My prediction, New York Jets, Week 13 is the first time that this team gets a win. And finally, MVP, Russell Wilson, tremendous value at 16-1. It's time for Russell to win an MVP. A lot of the other star quarterbacks already have one. He doesn't. I think it's a really good story for the NFL to tell. And in addition, he finally has some help on the offensive line. That Gabe Jackson signing was huge. They reworked Dwayne Brown's contract. So Russell Wilson goes into the season with something he hasn't had very often in his career, a solid offensive line protecting him. Thanks for stopping by Sugar Bookie. Good old-fashioned football advice poured straight from the tap. I hope you enjoyed my over-season win total picks as well as my season futures picks. Some really good value out there. Be sure to like and subscribe. Comment below, what do you think of my picks? Thanks for stopping by with Sugar Bookie, and make sure to check out John and I's Season 1 picks video as well as my unders video, what teams am I fading as we come into the NFL season. Good luck at the window, my friends, and again, thanks for stopping by.